Oh, I got some juicy news for you. Profit First app version 2.0 is here. With an enhanced user experience and video guidance throughout, you can now be even more confident in your Profit First implementation. Plus, listeners who work with a certified Profit First professional get extra benefits. Check it out now at www.profitfirstapp.com. Want to grow your firm's capacity without the overhead of adding headcount? Bill empowers your team to shift their focus from financial cleanup to strategic client success. With exception-based AI workflows and automated invoicing that gets you paid up to 2 times faster, you can scale your firm while delivering more value to every client. Partner with the solution chosen by over 9,000 accounting firms. Start growing at bill.com/grow today. Plus, get a $250 gift card when you take a demo. Terms apply.
Most personal finance systems fail because they ask people to behave in ways that don't match real life. The Money Habit takes a different approach. It works with how people already interact with money, using their bank accounts to create clarity and control without budgets or guilt. We created the Certified Money Habit Mentor designation to give financial professionals a way to guide clients using the system in real life. As a Certified Money Habit Mentor, you become the trusted guide when personal money stress starts affecting business decisions and confidence. Applications are now open for a limited group of Certified Money Habit Mentors. Learn more at moneyhabitmentors.com.
Today, right here, right now, this is the moment that you will finally say,
I'm growing my accounting practice, and you're going to discover exactly how right here, right now,
on the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast.
Welcome back to the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast. I am Liz Sporn, alongside my buddy Billy Ann Gregg, who is in for Mike and Ron today because they're out gallivanting, spreading the word of Profit First and the Money Habit. Who knows whatever else trouble they're getting up into. We all want our businesses to be a force for good. But for many firm owners and their clients, giving back often feels like a luxury that we can't afford until the end of the year if there's anything left, much like how people used to think about profit. Today's guest is here to show us why profitability is actually the starting point for generosity and it's not the reward. She's going to flip it. Joining us today is Venus Michael. Venus is a Profit First professional and a good buddy of ours, and she's a seasoned business advisor and the author of Profit First for Photographers. Through her firm, One-to-One Accountability, she helps entrepreneurs move from accidental business owners to permanently profitable leaders who use their wealth to support charities and causes close to their hearts. She's built a 6-figure advisory firm by helping people align their money with their mission. Venus, you have such a unique way of helping people stop treating generosity as an afterthought. And we're so excited to dive into how we can help our clients do the same. Venus, welcome to the show.
Oh my.
Hi. I feel like I already got a sneak peek at what we might talk about since somebody texted me some puppy pictures this weekend.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Oh,
Puppy,
man.
I love puppies. Puppy pictures.
Oh my gosh. So I love that we're talking about this topic, this conversation. I am very, very excited about it. So how did you get to this? Where did this come from? When did you start really focusing on purpose with your clients?
It was actually with my first photography client. I started talking with her and realizing that what fulfilled her, what lit her soul, was supporting the charity for breast cancer survivors. And that's what she wanted to do, but she couldn't make money at it. So we flipped the script and we're like, okay, well, how can your business become revenue producing for that? And we came up with some ideas. And now she has a yearly give back that she gives here to those survivors that are here locally. She has an amazing story. She's an amazing person, but that was the first time my eyes were open to, oh, there's something here. And it's just talking with the clients and figuring out what starts their fire. What are they burning for? What are they really, really desiring for? And I had a very interesting conversation with my puppy guy where he was going against what I was saying. And now he is extremely successful that I just keep sending out pictures of puppies to everybody.
Oh, it's, do you start this conversation? Because I love that, you're having this conversation. You know, we live in the world of accounting and bookkeeping firm owners and financial coaches. And they're not known for asking really deep, sort of personal questions like, what lights your soul? So when do you ask that question? And is that something that you feel like is your trademark, or where did that come from? Like, where do you ask that?
I actually ask that question the first or second conversations that I'm having with someone. So before they even engage with me, I'm already asking them, are they answering me? Not so much.
Yeah.
Because from their point of view, they're like, why is a bookkeeper asking me about this? This
Right.
has nothing to do with it, right? Where I have found the most success is when I ask that question and then I shut up and I just listen. And as you get to know your client and what's going on, they'll give you these little golden nuggets of, oh, well, I volunteered and did this weekend, or oh, I really had fun on this project, and they'll tell you what their passion is, and then you just have to keep pulling at that thread. I have one client, she works with first responders, and I had to pull at her thread for a year and a half before I got her to say, hey, this is actually where you need to go, and this is how we're going to fund it. And to now, a couple years later, they are talking to her about franchising her system, and for a couple different other photographers in other states. But it took me a year and a half of constantly pulling that thread and saying, I see this is what lights you. And she's like, yeah, but portraits are what pay the bills. And I'm like, well, let's
Yeah.
make this one pay the bills.
And I love that you already know that you're not normal in asking that question early on. So thank you for that. People are always saying, what's, how do I stand out? How do I do something differently? And that's a great way to be that person who's focusing on profitability and filling your soul. It's amazing. I have a question about some of the passion projects that you've helped your clients with. You've worked with so many clients, some of whom are in your book, like Felicia is sort of a main character in your book, Profit First for Photographers, and then Adam and Jennifer, and you've helped them turn these projects into revenue producing assets. What's the biggest mistake that you see business owners do when they're trying to integrate their passions into the model, and how do you correct that?
The biggest mistake actually comes from a conversation I had with Adam about dogs.
Okay.
So his passion, what fed his soul, and I did clue him in and tell him that I'm recording this and that we were going to talk about him. So I did give him a heads
Hi,
up.
Adam. Hi.
um, but he was a pet photographer, and he what really fed his soul was helping the shelters. And he was doing that on a volunteer basis one
Mm,
Saturday a month. And he talked about it one time about how much fun he had just doing that. And that's what he wanted to do. And I said, well, why can't we do that? And he got a little tiffy with me and said, well, I can't charge the shelters. They don't have the budget. And I said, okay, why can't we do that? And I was like, if you were to get paid for this day, how would your pricing fall out? And he kept pushing against me, saying, I can't charge. I said, I understand that. I want to know what the price is. Once I got that number out of him, then I was like, okay, who can pay for it?
nice.
Right.
Oh,
And I got him thinking about that. And then I said, okay, so if we're asking someone else to pay for it, what value are we going to give them for paying for it? And that birthed the whole sponsorship program, to where now other businesses who align with his belief system and will also want to support dogs can sponsor a day. It's 10 dogs a day, can sponsor it. And then he then will go and talk about their business. I have a link on my website now that backlinks to his program, because I am a sponsor. Of course, I built this
of
system. I'm going
course.
to sponsor it. As soon as he asks me, I'm
Of
like, you don't
course.
even need to ask me. Just here, take my money. Um, but we were talking about he and I were talking about this the other day, and we were really upset that I didn't record my calls with my clients that at that time, because it was years ago that we had this
Yeah.
conversation, because we'd really like to refer back to it. But it all it took was me just listening and seeing his face of this is what he wants to do, and then getting him to think out, not even outside the box doesn't exist, of
Yeah.
what does it cost. Okay, now how can we make it revenue producing? How can we get sponsorships? And like Felicia, she funds hers by throwing galas and stuff like that, where a lot of people say, oh, well, if I'm going to do charity, it has to be 5% of my revenue, or
Right.
or the sales on this day. But if you think that's the only way that you can have your give back, well, then you're definitely inside that box I say we shouldn't even have.
Yeah.
Like you just have to start getting a little creative and being, okay, here's the desired outcome. And then how can I get there?
I love that. And you've created a new formula is what I heard you say in there, right? Like you've
Uh-huh.
created a new way. He's saying, I can't charge them. He only sees the one way in. And you said, but there's different math that we can play here. So you drilling down, first of all, why? Why? Be a 2-year-old for a minute. Why can't you
Mhm.
do that? Why can't you do that? And then, well, who can't? Well, what is the value? And who can pay for that? Like that
Mhm.
formula is so simple and such an easy way to get people to think differently. And that's what you did. And now that is your signature, one of your signature moves.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing. So, Venus, I have a question. And I'm assuming that you're using Profit First with these clients to get them to a position where they can actually do this charitable work, if you will, or you doing the good in the world. How does Profit First create the clarity and the confidence that allows them to see that they can actually do this?
Well, yes, I'm using Profit First with everybody I work with. You don't have a choice. You want to work with me, we're going to do this program.
Well
Um,
done.
but the way that it comes into play with getting them over the hump of even going down that road, I want to tell you a little bit more about Jennifer. So, because she's a great example. She works with first responders, but that's not where her art started. Her art started in portrait photography, and that was her moneymaker, and it wasn't even a good one. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It was her moneymaker, but it wasn't a good one. She was living paycheck to paycheck. Like
Yeah.
I tell her whole story in my book.
Yeah.
Um, but her passion was first responders because she was a volunteer firefighter when she was younger. And that was what she was passionate about. But more importantly, she would get upset when a first responder passed away. They would go grab the Facebook photo because the first
Oh,
responders didn't want their professional photos done. In fact, they had a nickname for it, calling it the death photo. Like,
yep.
oh, I got to go get my death photo now.
Yep.
Um, and that just really tugged at her heart. And I kept pulling at that string, saying, okay, let's do something with this. Let's do something with this. Where she was worried that going that route and taking the attention away from the portrait photography to focus on what we call it timeless heroes, to focus on the timeless heroes section of it, it would cripple her cash flow, which was already kind of hurting. So the way we brought in Profit First is we literally opened up a bank account and I told her 3%. And as soon as she had 1 month of running expenses in there, I said, look, we're going to try it for 1 month. Look, you've got 1 month set aside. And that's how I got her started on the program. But it did take
Wow.
some pull. So we will pull in Profit First for a couple different ways so that they can actually see the true percentages, because we talk in two languages, dollar sign, percentage sign. I spent $100. I spent 2%. It lands different.
Yep.
Um, and we will create bank accounts for a little bit of cushion for the people who are really nervous about even getting started because it's the unknown. And if I change my focus, if I stop this train that's coming in that's breeding revenue now, what is that going to do? How am I going to stay afloat? And so as soon as we have 1 month of operating expenses set aside, I tell them, okay, let's start the train. Let's be the little engine that could and said, I think I can. I think I can. You know, I
Yeah.
used to read that book to my son.
Of course.
Um, and I loved that part of he's going up the mountain. I think I can, and that's what I tell my clients. I'm like, that's where we're at right now. We're going to chug along. We're going to chug along, but eventually we're going to get to the top. That train's going to go down that mountain screaming, I thought I could, I knew I could, and just cheering.
Oh, that's so
Um,
good.
but that's how Profit First comes into it is number one, looking at the percentages, and number two, opening up another account and having it set aside so that they feel comfortable enough to at least take that next step.
Does she still have those when you ask them to keep that set aside account, that 3%? Or how do you manipulate that once the train is fully going?
Yeah. So when I set up my clients, I ask them that their buffers, we take this from financial advice from yesteryear, uh of having 6 months. I ask them to keep that. So this 1 month is aside from that. It's a totally different account. And then once it gets up and going, it can help because it can help with any like startup cost of, oh, I've got to get this new website, or now I'm doing this other thing, or I've got to get another software subscription. Oh gosh, those are crazy, but
Yep.
different things. So it can help float any expenses if we are going down a different route from like portrait photography to first responder photography. It's
Yeah.
totally different skill. Um, but once they're up and running, I don't ask them to keep that 1 month thing because I've already asked them to have 6 months in
Cool.
a different account.
Nice.
Great.
That's great. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
flexible. It's creative. It's just, I love it. Um, so you are, as we know, you are an advisor. And so you're advising on lots of things from the bookkeeping to profit first to, helping their passion project. So for those like you, accountants and bookkeepers who are listening, how do they shift? What's one of the first things they can do to shift their conversations from just numbers to helping with those real life missions and accountabilities? What's one thing you would suggest to I think I might know the answer, but what's the one thing that they can shift early on?
Actually, the first thing that they must shift in order to be successful at this is they have to shift their mindset. Um, I was talking with my husband about this, I think yesterday, where the accountants of yesteryear were always throwing accountanese at people, and they had these big words and like, there's the credit and the debit, and your client doesn't know what a credit versus a debit are. They know what a credit card is and a debit card, and when the cash actually leaves their pocket. But a credit debit, like, they don't know. So you don't want to throw accountanese type of stuff at your clients. You really need to shift your mind into a humble thinking servant heart type of place of I'm not here to judge, I am here to help. We are going to go through this together. If you can get your mindset in there, then your client will actually feel it. If you throw accountanese and kind of like puff up your feathers, and I'm so smart because I've got this accounting degree and I understand these numbers, and you don't, well, then you make your client feel small. And what happens when they feel small is they're not going to give you those golden nuggets that you need to be listening for. They're not going to let you know on Saturdays this is how they're spending their time, or they don't like when somebody's referred to a photo as a death photo, or they
Mm.
actually really do support this organization. Like, they're not going to let that know. They're not going to become friend status with you and tell you all that other stuff. The conversations are going to be very cold and very numbers orientated, and you have to get out of that role.
Did you have to make that mind shift?
I think I just naturally did it.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember ever thinking, oh, I've got to shift this or I've got to change this. I think I just naturally did it. But I have talked with some of my friends about how to do it, and that's how I explained it to them. I was like, well, this is what I do, and this is how you do it. And I've seen success with some of my friends implementing the ideas themselves and kind of shifting it. So,
Yeah. Billy Ann, did you ever have when you were a little Billy Ann just getting started, because I think a lot of people do this, right? Like that mindset of like, I want to prove that I'm professional and I'm smart
mhm.
and I can build trust and I know all the words. I know all the big words that you need to know, trust that I have. Did you have that issue ever?
Um, Maybe a little bit, but not. It was more when I was an employee with someone
Hmm.
as opposed to when I was striking out on my own. Because by the time I struck out as a bookkeeper on my own and a profit first professional on my own, I had already figured out that the accounting, I love ditch the accounting ease. That way of speaking to business owners does not work. They might think that they want the high level, high power CPA that can talk down to them, but if you actually do that, no, they're not. They might say thank you for your advice, but they're not going to heed it. And once you get on that same level as they are, and you're speaking in a language that they can actually understand, even if it's not the quote unquote right words or the correct terminology, they're going to internalize that and start to understand that, hey, I actually can do this, and this is the person who can help me.
Yeah. I love it. I don't think I'm with you all. I always want to be smart, right? I think all of us are very smart people. We love learning, we love reading, we love growing. I mean, you all have amazing hobbies, like your side hobbies that are like writing and changing lives and all those fun things. But I always knew if I wanted to truly impact anybody else, I had to make sure they could see what I'm saying. And so forever there was that acknowledgement of they have to be able to place themselves with me. They have to be able to see us walking down the road together. They have to be able to see this money that you're telling them to put over here is actually going to support them for a month. And so you can't use, or I found I couldn't use those big words to make it real, to help them see where we're going next. So I love that. And it's so simple, but it's something, again, not everybody does early on. So thank you. On behalf of all your clients, both of you, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. We have time for one more question. So I have another question. Um, we are constantly, whether it's the three of us as humans ourselves or as advisors for others, helping people with more than just numbers, as we know, but we're helping. It's like how to make an impact without burning out. So you already mentioned some of your clients, these are the things that they're doing all weekend. So they're doing their regular job, and then they have a second regular job that is their passion job all weekend. You talk about moving from when I give more, when I have more, I can give more, or to helping them change it to I give because I'm profitable on purpose. How do you help? How does Profit First help with that? How does your advisory help with that to give them the confidence? So that is a great phrase, but how do you make it real for them?
Well, we start by making it real by opening up a Profit First account for whatever charity they want to give to, whether it's a
Cool.
legit 503, whatever those numbers are, charity, or whether it's I want to support my church, or I want to have money to buy the Girl Scout cookies when they come for sale. Like everybody has that one thing that is their give back. And um one of the accounts that we set up when we are onboarding clients is we will ask them, what is your give back? And I had a client who did 0.5%, because we really couldn't find it anywhere. Like, we can only get so much, right? We did 0.5%. And she decided that when that account reached $250, she was going to give it. Of course, when it did that, we did this huge big celebration. I sent her an emoji that had fireworks going off. Like, we really celebrated that. Um, so even for the clients that don't have like these passion to profit projects, they're not, shifting and saying, okay, I'm going to change my whole business model and do this thing. We are constantly giving back. And we talk about that with every client. What is your give back? We call it money with purpose. That's what we call it. We also say a lot of make more so I can give more. So we will then reverse engineer the numbers and see how we can raise the revenue so that there's more to give. We throw those type of phrases into most of the conversations we have with our clients. But it starts with, because not everybody's going to come out of the gate of, oh, I have this project and I want to turn it into, this big figure thing that's going to cross state lines and impact a bunch of lives. It could just be, I want to support all of the fundraisers that are happening at my kid's school, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, we're going to set an account for that. So we really do what is it? When in doubt, open an account is
Yeah.
is what
Yep.
y'all say. Like, we
Yep.
really
Yep.
we really do that. Like, we practice that religiously.
Oh, I love it.
And
Again,
even if it's just 0.5%.
yeah. Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and that 0.5% adds up quicker than they think. You
Mm-hmm.
also mentioned in there the celebration, and I appreciate that so, so much. We don't celebrate nearly enough. I've been talking today probably 4 times already about the book The Gap and the Gain. And that book is, if for those of you who don't know it, it's Dan Sullivan, Benjamin Hardy, and it's about how we're always in pursuit of happiness, right? We're always chasing that next big thing, and it's actually stifling us because we're never going to catch it. We'll always move the finish line. And so the power of looking back, the power of celebrating, the power of saying, look what you already did is so huge. And so that's another way that you differentiate yourself and you really stand out in your universe, is celebrating. It's $250. That's not a big
Mm-hmm.
deal to somebody else. To her,
It was
huge deal.
huge. It was a huge deal.
Huge.
And we acted like she just won the lotto. Like, we totally celebrated. I think we did a shout out on social. I love doing shout outs on social, because usually they'll get shared by my client and they'll be like, uh, what bookkeeper does this for you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I do it. I'm over
Yeah,
here,
I do.
you know.
I do. Oh, I love it. I love it. What's your favorite project? What's one of your favorite? Not that, I mean, they're like children, so you can't have a real favorite other than the puppies. What's one of the cooler things that your clients have done?
Well, I really like the puppies because I helped birth that idea, and now it's like really, really moving.
And they're
But I
really good
think
photos.
I think if I had a client, her project is a little bit different because she wanted to create generational wealth.
Okay.
That was her passion. And she started out as a photographer. She's no longer a photographer. She created generational wealth by going into advising, and she's
Oh,
very, very particular. I can't say much about her because I didn't tell her I'd be talking about her.
that's fine.
But she's got a very particular audience that she advises in. And she emailed me the other day that her daughter, who is turning 18, I think in 2 months, 2 or 3 months, not very long, is also going to take over and eventually will take this advising business.
Awesome.
And that all started from me listening. She was a photographer to pay the bills because it was a skill she had, but what she really wanted to do was help this other audience
Oh my God.
with this
I
other
love
thing
it.
that had nothing to do with photography.
That's amazing. Yep.
Great.
Just starts with a simple question.
Mhm.
All right, Venus, we've already hit our time. How can people find you, work with you, talk to you, be like you? How can they do that?
Anybody who wants to talk to me, I have an open door policy, and I have a heart that just wants to help. So anyone who wants to talk to me, literally just email me, venus@venusmichael.com, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. And we do have other links that will be on the show notes, everybody. So if you do want to reach out to Venus, if you want to follow her on our socials and celebrate with her clients, learn more about Profit First, all of that stuff, she's there for you. Thank you,
Venus,
Venus.
thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
not being normal, Venus.
Yes.
Nope, not normal. Thank
Oh, in
you.
the best way. And for those of you who are not able to see Venus, she always has the most beautiful, do we call it violet or purple hair?
It's purple.
It's
It gets,
purple.
yeah, it's purple. I get because it gets repurpled.
Oh, repurpled.
I
She's
made that word. Repurpled.
I love it. So she is not normal in all senses of the word. So thank you, Venus. Appreciate you so much. And everybody, all listeners, I appreciate you very much. Thank you for listening. If you would like to learn a little bit more about what becoming a Profit First professional like Venus is like, head over to www.profitfirstprofessionals.com. There are two buttons. One says work with a Profit First professional, which will route you to working with someone like Venus, another certified PFP, or become a Profit First professional. Click that button. You could schedule a discovery call and have a conversation with me, with Billy Ann, or with Ron, and we'll let you know what it looks like to become someone as not normal as Venus. So there you go. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.